for now.
I'm establishing that we have a quorum. As a preliminary matter of the contract review committee, I, Dorothy Hertz, as chair, permit me to confirm that all members and persons anticipated on the agenda and are present and can hear me. Members, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Linda Williams.
Yeah.
Linda Williams.
Here.
I think you have to say your name.
No, I don't, but I'm here.
Oh, it says state your member's name. Okay, John,
John Valash here.
Joanna,
Joanna Roach here.
Sue,
Sue Minton here.
Veronica Bolchik here.
Dorothy Hertz here. Staff, when I call your name, please respond to the affirmative. Tamika,
Speaking here.
Heather,
Heather Nardonian here.
Jericho.
Jericho Mealy here.
Anticipated speakers on the agenda, please respond to the affirmative. Emily
Emily Miller here,
and
Julia Maury
Julia.
here.
Okay. Good morning. This is the open meeting of the Contract Review Committee. Is being conducted remotely and pursuant by Chapter 2 of Acts 2023. Ensuring public access does not ensure public participation unless such participation is required by law. This meeting will feature public comment. For this meeting of the CRC is conveyed by video conference as posted on the town's website, identifying how the public may join. Please note that this meeting is being recorded and that all attendees are participating by video conference. Accordingly, please be aware that other folks may be able to see you and take care not to screen share your computer. Anything that you broadcast may be captured by the recording. All supporting materials that have been provided to members of this body are available on the town's website unless otherwise noted. The public is encouraged to follow along using the posted agenda unless I note otherwise. We are now turning to the first item on the agenda. Before we do so, permit me to cover some ground rules for effective and clear conduct of our business and to ensure accurate meeting minutes. I will introduce each speaker on the agenda. After they conclude their remarks, I will go down the line of members, inviting each by name to provide any comment, questions, or motions. Please hold until your name is called further. Please remember to mute your phone or computer when you are not speaking. Please remember to speak clearly and in a way that helps generate accurate minutes. For any response, please wait until the chair yields the floor to you and state your name before speaking. If members wish to engage in conversation with other members, please do so through the chair, taking care to identify yourself. After members have spoken, the chair will afford public comment to those members of the public who have joined the meeting via Zoom. Members of the public who wish to speak must state their name and be acknowledged by and speak through the chair. We'll do that a little bit differently, okay? Because we're asking you to speak to us before we're gonna ask you questions, okay? Finally, each vote will be taken in this meeting will be conducted by a roll call. Can I please get a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Linda?
Yes.
Sue?
Yes.
Veronica?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Joanna?
Yes.
I do not believe we have any minutes. Do we have any minutes with us
Not
today?
having a chance to get the rest of the minutes done yet.
Okay, and we didn't get the minutes from the last meeting.
No.
Correct. Okay, so we're just gonna skip over the minutes on the agenda. And we're gonna start with you guys. Okay, so the way this is, it's relax. You're just here to present yourself. We'll ask a bunch of questions of you. I believe you got some questions beforehand that if you can answer those are the primary questions that came out of reading everybody's application. And then if we have other additional questions, we'll ask you. Okay, so the floor is yours.
Do you want me to start and just sort of give a
And
big,
then give your name when you
Sure.
start, so it
Sure.
goes into the recording.
Emily Miller. I served as the head of school at Lighthouse School for 7 years, 11 years ago, and took a 4-year break in between. I was working up in Boston and returned this year. And when I previously served in that role, one of the greatest challenges we had was helping to support children socially and emotionally. When I had children and families who were in crisis, and we would refer them to Fairwinds, they were met with very long waiting lists. And sometimes really had a difficult time accessing service with even 6 months or a year. And so, we were able to work through the Family Resource Center to sometimes get them in to triage, but it wasn't the type of long-term service that the children needed. having worked up at a school in Boston during COVID and knowing what Nantucket was facing, we also know that a lot of children, social emotional needs were not met during that period of time during the lockdown. And when I came back to the school this year, prior to returning on July 1st, made a commitment to hire Julia as a school counselor for Lighthouse School. We've never had a school counselor. We have a very slim budget. Almost 40% of our budget is fundraised. So we made a commitment to this position, knowing that it was really important for our children and our families. But it's also a hard one for us to fill financially. So when we saw that this grant might be a possibility for us, we were very eager to apply. And Julia can talk specifically about the grant itself.
Yes, so it's a unique opportunity in this grant to work with other organizations. I know before Lighthouse School had a school counselor, we were faced with situations where maybe a child's parent had passed away, and just feeling a little bit helpless in how to connect them with the resources and the support that they might need. So it was actually Emily's idea, with the support of this grant, to be able to offer consultations to other small schools on the island that don't have access to a school counselor. Through the support of this grant, we hope to provide guidance and counseling for Rising Tide Preschool, Children's House of Nantucket, and Small Friends. And the directors of all three organizations are interested in weekly consults with me to help support the emotional, behavioral, and mental health of the students there. So that would expand my reach from the 75 students we have at the Lighthouse School to 175 students on the island.
It was Rising Tides, Children's House, and the new school?
Small Friends.
Small Friends, not the new school.
Not the new school. And, you know,
Okay.
just to speak to that, it was only because, you know, Julia is very thoughtful about, you know, what is an appropriate caseload for a school counselor. There are recommendations for that is 200 and under.
250 or under. So this would bring my caseload to 175, which I feel is reasonable. And we specifically reached out to schools that did not have a lot of support in place in this area. So specifically with the new school, they're a larger school. They're almost close to 200 students. And they have more support personnel in place already.
Okay.
Can we ask questions, Dorothy?
Are you done?
Yes, I have a question.
I
So,
just She was done with her presentation, Joanna. Because we had asked a question, and sorry. So Joanna, yeah, we'll start with you.
so I want to understand like the 175 number and the potential number of students that you would serve. So in your current role with 75 kids, what percentage of those kids require services? And can you extrapolate that onto 175?
That's a very good question. So right now I'm working with all students at the Lighthouse School in a variety of ways. So I support classroom teachers. I go in for lessons. We've had about 6 weeks of school already, and I've provided individual counseling services for 41 children, and have provided teacher consults for 36 teachers, and have met with 25 parents since the start of school. So it's very much a collaborative approach. It's not realistic to be able to offer that range of services to all 4 schools. So what we're really hoping for is for me to work directly with the directors of the programs, and they can come to me with concerns, and I can help with strategies that they can implement in the classroom to best support students. And then I would also be available in terms of a crisis if something comes up with a family, that I would be able to go directly and work with them there.
So in the sense that one of the things we're trying to accomplish with this grant is to have intervention at sort of critical stages of child development. You know, I'm trying to get at, do you feel like in your current role, you're able to make those interventions? And if we give you the grant, when you roll it out over a larger percentage of students, that it will have an impact?
I absolutely do think it will have an impact. I already see the impact that it's having on our school. I am a meticulous data keeper, so tracking the data of the students that I work with. When I meet with a child, it's similar to when you go to the doctor's office and you say, you know, my pain is at this level. So I track that when children come in to meet with me, where they are on a feeling spectrum, and then when they leave. And so it's been remarkable to see that at the Lighthouse School. And I do think being able to provide support to the directors and getting their feedback. So I plan to have them give feedback in the term of a Likert scale, how helpful the consultation was, and track that data as well.
I think one last question. In terms of being able to deliver I'm going to use the old school terms, like an all school assembly, right? And address things that are happening like in real time in the community. Is that something you would see yourself being able to do for all the schools?
Oh, it's actually something I haven't considered, but I do think that would be a wonderful way to reach the most students. Yeah, so I think that would definitely be something that I would offer to the directors. And then my hope too was to help them develop social emotional learning curriculum that they can apply to their classrooms.
Right. Okay. Great. Thank you.
Let me just ask them, go up there first. Sure. Hey, John, do you have any questions?
I don't think so. I'm afraid I'm a little bit out of my range on this one.
Okay, I'm gonna come back to you in case you do have them at the end after.
Okay,
everybody
right.
asks their questions. Okay, and Veronica's hand was up, and then Linda, I'll guide you.
Okay. So Julia, what you're describing then for the other agencies, you would be doing more of a consultation model.
Yes.
And in the Lighthouse School, it's a hands-on approach.
Absolutely, yes.
Okay.
So providing individual counseling and group counseling and classroom instruction at the Lighthouse School.
Okay, all right. Right now, with the numbers that you gave, they're impressive, you know, and thank you for being a data person on that. But if that is your daily right now, do you have capacity for other?
I want to be a resource, so I can't be the person on the ground every day at all 4 schools. But I just know from having been in schools without a school counselor, not having that person that you can call and ask questions, you know, it can feel very isolating. And so this is really a way to build community and collaboration, and just to be that person you can pick up the phone and call.
May I speak to Emily Miller? And I just want to speak to that because having served in this role for a long time, you're one person wearing lots of hats when you're in a small independent school, whether it's a preschool or an elementary school. I'm not a licensed counselor, but I was often put in the position of needing to be that person who could really meet all of the emotional needs of a child and a family. And I couldn't do it. You know, I don't have that training. And there wasn't a go-to person for me. There wasn't someone that, you know, I would call the Fairwinds and they would try, but I couldn't always get someone on the phone to say, can you help advise me on how to approach this, what next steps might be? And just working in that capacity as that consultant, Julia is such an incredibly diligent person. I know she's going to see it through if there are crises in other schools of, we took a tour of the Family Resource Center already this year of being able to guide people to where they want to go and then following up and saying, how can I help you now? Were you able to make this next step with this family? Just having that consult is very reassuring and incredibly helpful. I'm a 30-year educator, but I'm not a counselor. And they're two different roles.
Can I ask one additional? Your licensure is as a
It's-
school guidance counselor?
School counselor K through 12,
Mhm.
all levels, and it's for the next 5 years.
Okay. Thank you.
Mhm.
Linda.
Do you have to get the parents of these 175? We have to get the parents' approval, or is it just accepted that it's part of the school?
So we
Right.
got the parental approval over the summer from the families at the Lighthouse School. Just describing what a school counselor is, I give my child permission to meet with the school counselor, some guidelines about what confidentiality is. I still maintain confidentiality with children, so that parents understand that. If I'm meeting consistently with a child, say over 3 times to work on something specific, I would get additional approval. So I would think that the directors of these programs would want to send at least an email informing families that we have access to this resource. And usually we do like an opt-out because you would get more response that way. You don't always get the opt-in forms back.
Yeah, because when I was at all my kids in the school, they gave us an opt-in, opt-out type of thing.
Yeah.
And we had to sign that, and I think they're too young for IEPs, but there are kids that have diagnosed behavioral things that are coming in with them,
Yes.
and you deal with those. You don't deal with enforcing those or implementing those, but you deal.
Supporting and making
Support.
sure that IEPs are followed
Are followed.
through and
Okay.
504 plans, absolutely.
Okay. They have 504 in this age group.
They do, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't get
Well, the
it.
Lighthouse School is up to 5.
5th grade.
Fifth grade, yeah, there would
Up
be.
to 10.
I'm just looking at the other ones, like,
Yeah.
Small Friends and the other ones, they're too young for those things, but some of them are coming in with diagnosed issues.
Some of them are, and I think this actually came up when I was speaking to Nicole Olson from Small Friends. She's a very thorough, diligent person as
Right.
well. And one of her feedback was, well, if there's a real developmental concern, that would be something that I would refer parents to a pediatrician.
Okay.
And of course, that would be the case. And I would always do so as well, but this is more for emotional, behavioral supports, and ways that I can best support them in the school environment. Yeah,
Okay, but it's so intertwined.
it is.
You know, you can't separate it.
Mhm. Yeah.
Thank
Linda,
you.
do you have any other questions?
No,
I'm just wondering, how much time do you think in a week, maybe percentage wise, that you would spend with the other schools versus the Lighthouse School?
What I would want to offer, at least initially, is an hour a week consult with the directors. And then I'm sure from there, we can really evaluate what the needs are. But that was the intention was, so 3 hours
Okay.
to the other schools.
And then are they chipping in to the program? Like, are you offering it free to them at this point? Is that
Yeah.
the?
If we were to receive the grant, then it would be a free service for them.
Is it in,
I'm done. Thank you.
okay, thanks. Sorry. Is the service available to them if you don't get the grant?
I don't think it's something that we would take on at this time without the support of the grant. Because
No, I just
my
had to,
plate,
I
yeah,
have to
my
ask that
plate
question.
is pretty full. But we just saw this as a really unique opportunity to support what we already decided to take on at the Lighthouse School, having the counselor, and then how to expand that and collaborate.
Okay, and for instance, what happens if you have a school, Small Friends, Rising Tides, Children's House, that has a crisis?
Crisis, I would be on the ground for a crisis, so I would be immediately there, available.
So you would be available in the event of a crisis, so it wouldn't be that they would have to call you if it was something out of their control that they could not take care of.
Right, we would have a scheduled time every week, but if there was a crisis at a school, I would drop what I'm doing anywhere to be there.
Okay. That's important to know,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
when you present.
Yeah.
Because that's a major part of it, right? We
Right.
want to know that besides support,
Mhm.
that if there is a crisis, there's somebody on
Yeah.
site to help
Absolutely, yeah.
go through it. This is gonna be a very personal question. But, what brought you into the field?
That's a great question. I'm someone who really benefited from school counselors growing up. And you partly go into this field to heal yourself. And so I have a personal interest in mental health and how it is so intricately linked to your success and your well-being and your happiness. So I have a passion for advocating for children. I was a teacher before this. And what always interested me more than, the 1, 2, 3s and ABCs was what kind of person is this and how to best support them and how to utilize their strengths so that they can succeed.
Okay, thank you. I think that's all I have for questions.
There was one other piece to this too, that in addition to Julia and Julia's ability to intervene in a crisis, to, consult with the other schools, we also have a child study team. So we have reading specialists, a math specialist, a school counselor. We have an ADHD consultant that we work with. And our teachers. So we have a team that actually meets every other week. So some of those issues could be confidentially brought to our child study team as well.
From the other schools?
Yes, yes. And so that's just an opportunity to sit and brainstorm, get a better sense of what the issues are, and see if we can help come up with, as a team, some strategies that can be put in place. And then Julia would be the liaison for working back with the directors of the other schools.
So basically, you're saying that you also would offer educational support
Absolutely.
on how to bring the children.
Yeah.
Okay, another key thing you probably should have mentioned. Good, thank you for mentioning it.
Yes.
Because I was right before you went, I said I didn't have another question. I was gonna ask, do you work with children, when children are diagnosed in nursery schools?
Yes.
And then the parents start that whole thing with the school districts. And so would you be available for that too with the parents?
Yes. And so the public school has something similar called an MTSS team, like the multi-tiered system of support. And so that's what we have at our school with the child study team. So when there are children at other schools, and I need the support of, a math specialist or a reading specialist, we already have that team in place.
Okay, I'm gonna ask one more question. You're asking for 58,500. Would you run this program if you didn't get that full amount of money?
It would be really very difficult for us to do that. I mean, we're stretched really thin in terms of budgeting. As I said, we have to raise $750,000 a year to meet that gap between what tuition actually brings in and what it costs to run the school. Our salaries are lower than most schools. So, we're on a shoestring budget. I think it would be very difficult to extend the program outside of Lighthouse School if we weren't funded for the program. I mean, just having a school counselor at Lighthouse School is a big step for us. Knowing that we have 75 more children on Nantucket who are being supported from 2.9 years through 5th grade is one step forward. We would like to make it more broad reaching. And we would need the grant to be able to do that, to be able to have Julia dedicate more time doing other things so that, there were some things in-house. We might have to actually hire people to take on, some of the other pieces that she does that wouldn't be as, linked to the school counseling.
Okay.
Okay,
Do you have a question?
that actually clarifies in my mind because you already have a full job.
Right.
So your day is full already, so you would be offloading some to other
Yeah.
individuals or hiring other individuals. So
On a
you would
very
be
part-time basis. We are really a small staff, and so we would definitely need to support some of the, less school counseling. There are, everyday responsibilities of working in the school, whether you're on recess duty or, covering in a classroom, so.
Okay. What is your total staff? Just
We have 9 full-time teachers and 5 full-time administrators. And then we have 2 full-time teaching assistants and 3 very part-time specialist teachers teaching music and art, music and PE and horticulture. And they work about 10 hours a week.
okay.
Well, it's nice to have you back.
Well,
I've heard
it's
wonderful
really
things.
nice to be back. It really is. I'm happy to be here.
And I've heard wonderful things about you being back.
Thank you so much.
And I've always heard wonderful things about you and your husband, so. Thank you for
All right.
being here.
Thank you.
Thank you both.
Thanks so much.
What's your last name?
Doing, in partnership with WPI, Worcester Polytech,
Mhm.
we're doing a youth behavioral health study. I believe I reached out to the acting head at Lighthouse about participation, but as soon as you said Likert scale, I was like,
Right.
okay, let's get.
Okay,
So-
awesome. Yeah, I love a good Likert scale. More.
Steve Morty.
Oh, geez.
Remember you helped me with my
Yeah,
hair at
yeah,
my wedding?
That's what I thought, yeah. I have.
Boy, Linda.
Oh, you took pictures?
Oh, yes, I did. Remember, I was driving the car.
Right, you were, almost 10 years now.
Okay,
And-
it's not-
yeah,
You have 2 kids.
I love this island.
kids. She's got 3.
Yeah, she said, Linda, she's got 3.
5 and under.
Oh, that's right, you
Oh,
had just
my.
had one.
3 boys,
And I-
so
and I
it's the
told-
4th generation
Yeah.
of 3 Maury boys.
I know, can you believe
Yeah.
that?
Isn't that
I
wild?
can't break it, yeah.
Well, you have to have 10 more kids to get the girl.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Oh, you want that? Yep.
Alrighty.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Horses next?
No,
For health.
horses or health and was Zoom.
Oh, was Zoom? I'm not seeing it.
Who's supposed to be here for them?
I believe it's,
10:30 is.
Thanks, Michelle.
Michelle.
She's sitting at either.
Michelle.
Soderberg.
Yeah,
Soderberg.
it's DER.
I know.
We're just waiting for the 10:30 to come in, guys. Which I think we could probably call them. If we don't get them.
I will pull up the number. Put in.
So that's just a call.
Yeah, I think that was Joanna cough.
Hmm?
I think that was Joanna cough.
Excuse me?
We just thought you were coughing.
Still getting over the cough.
Oh, that's Linda joining in with you.
Oh, it's allergies this time of year. I don't know what it is. Something out there.
Do you want me to call her?
Yeah, if you have the number to hand.
Do you have the number?
Yeah.
I have it right here.
Okay.
Why do you have an asterisk by it on the list?
Because there are 2 bids for that. There's 2 different price points. They submitted 2 RFPs with 2 different bids.
Where do you get, why they did that?
Both in the packets. One after another.
Do they want one over the other? Do they want them both?
They're presenting both.
Has like a range of services, a range of price points.
Do they total 70 or? are they
No,
separate?
one is 75, I believe, one is over 100.
One's 112. I
170,
believe.
one's 112.
Yeah.
You get a response from them when you mail it out?
No, they just, cause when I got to them, the question, they was just asking for the time back.
And you're wearing a Martha's Vineyard sweatshirt.
It's cold, and I went to the video.
I'm trying not to look.
I'm sorry, it's whatever, it's freezing here, it was just grabbed whatever was in my car.
At least it's not purple, because that's what they wear on their uniforms.
The shell.
My favorite color is purple, and unfortunately, my husband didn't get me the purple sweater.
Good.
He got the.
So
got
there's
the wrong
something
color.
positive about that. That's like showing up in a Yankees t-shirt on Red Sox Day.
Oh, man, I went to, the one thing I was told when I went to my boss's birthday party, the last time I went
Who's your
to
husband? Is it
Fenway.
Dale?
He's like, do
No,
not
that's my
show up in a
uncle.
Yankee uniform, and then this
Oh,
guy,
'cause I
Richard
talk to him
Wolf,
like every other
he's the
day.
only
about
other Yankee
trees.
fan of the 180
Yeah,
out there.
That's what I thought.
So
He told me that.
He's like, what was wrong with you? And I'm like, I would have gotten fired if I showed up in the Yankee outfit.
Uh-huh.
He's like, you're too valuable, he's not gonna fire you. No.
Were they planning on being here or?
Hey,
No.
Michelle, this is Dorothy Hertz calling from the Contract Review Committee on Nantucket. I think are you supposed to be in on a Zoom with us? She's waiting, she said.
I'm not seeing her in the,
Let me resend the Zoom.
They're gonna, to me. Oh, this one says the wrong time.
Okay, let me send the correct one, sorry.
Okay, she's sending the correct one. Okay, sorry.
Tell her I'm
Okay, she's
sorry.
gonna send it right now. Okay. Well, let me know. I'm gonna stay on the phone. Let me know that you get it. She said she got the one for October 10th
I'm sorry. Wow.
at 4 PM.
I'm sorry. Tell her I'm so sorry.
That's okay. Okay, I think she's doing it right now. When she sends it, I'll let you know. And it'll be coming from Tamika.
Yeah.
Discern the difference between these two.
We've only done one interview.
they were,
Served,
You're in the second interview of the day.
but I was.
300 high pressure.
Over here.
No, it isn't.
104.
Okay.
Tamika, did you send this?
Yes, it's to be said.
Okay, she sent it?
Yeah. Who's that?
got her?
Okay, so she's
Admitting?
connecting.
That was-
I'm gonna hang up when we know that you're connected.
You pop in here. She is
It
in.
looks like you're on. Okay, thanks, Michelle. Bye.
She's in audio.
See, is
Hi,
my,
Michelle.
good morning. Oh, there we go. There's my video. I apologize. I'm in my car, so.
That's okay. Michelle, I'm gonna have you state your name and then I'm just gonna tell you that, what we're gonna have you do is do a presentation to us and then we will ask you questions, okay?
Oh, okay.
Okay.
My name is Michelle Soderberg from In the Herd Cape Cod, Sandwich, Massachusetts.
Okay, hi, and I'm gonna give you all of ours. I'm gonna have everybody introduce themselves just so you know who they are, starting with Joanna.
Hi, I'm Joanna Roach. Nice to meet you.
John Balash,
I'm John Balash. Glad to meet you.
Linda,
Linda Williams.
Sue,
Sue Mintonen.
Veronica,
And Veronica Bolchik.
and I'm Dorothy. And over here is Jericho,
Hello.
and over to the corner, which you won't see, oh, you will see, it will be Tamika and Heather.
Hi.
Okay, so if you could do a presentation as to what you're offering the town, in this grant, that would be great, and then we'll ask questions.
Okay, excellent. I did not, so I do apologize. I did not realize that I was going to be doing a presentation. This is actually the first grant that I've ever applied for. They kind of fell in my lap. very interestingly, because I called to see if I could work to provide these programs out on Nantucket at a public farm, and then come to find out there is not a public farm on Nantucket. So what we do in the Herd Cape Cod is that we provide programs for youth and adults that support mental health and wellness. We tailor the program specifically to what the individual's needs or what the groups are looking for. Some of the students that I have been working have been part of like the Young Marine group. So we've been working on collaboration, leadership skills. Some of the other groups have been for personal growth and development to help with self-esteem, building confidence. A big part of it is communication. And we utilize the horses for all of this. We do have other animals on the property as well. So we do bring them into the mix when it seems appropriate, but our main focus is utilizing the horses, and we are using pieces of different programs that I have gone and studied, and I have mentored under leaders who have all research-based positive outcomes with the type of sessions that we're running. So I put in 2 bids. I put in one for a 3-week program, 3 hours at a time, which would allow us to work with the youth to be able to build, to pile up each week on their experience. I'm a firm believer, and research also backs this up, that experiential learning with each experience that we have, it does change our insights, our mindset, and where we're at. So what's beautiful about doing a 3-week program is that we can compile each week to really be able to watch the growth and see the growth, and we can adapt if the first session, say, needs a little bit of tweaking due to students' personalities or where they're at or what they're struggling with. We can then attempt to adjust and move forward so that we can make sure that we're getting the results that we'd like to see, the positive results that we'd like to see. The other, and I'm not sure if I should be combining them both, but the other bit that I'd put in would be a 1-day full session, which is a 6-hour session, which is also, I've had a lot of fun doing that with the kids, because it gives us a little bit of more time to play around, to get to know everybody. And, we really promote community and us all working together, and to see how they change from the morning when they arrive with a little bit of nervousness and that fear that is set in, to see how much they can blossom in a matter of a short 6 hours is just amazing. Plus we get to sit down and have lunch and joke and laugh around and have a good time. So my experience with utilizing the programs that I've studied, which would be Arch and PATH, and I've done a lot with PATH, support safety. Safety is obviously a priority for all of the kids. So we do provide clothing and boots for kids and adults if they need them. We make sure that we have a supply of that. Helmets if it's necessary. I have worked with kids that have seizure disorders. So again, safety is one of the biggest priorities that we do have. We work with 3 large horses, one that's a driving horse, and 2 quarter horses. We also have minis, which also allows us to bring in the kids and the adults that tend to have a little bit more fear around these animals. So everybody is included in this program, and we have something for everybody. So, personal growth and development, and bringing in the spiritual piece of this is something that we really try to bring to light. I feel that, in the time and age, so my husband Todd and I, we have 5 children, and we know what COVID has done and the struggle that it has impacted the mental health for the kids. So we really try to bring nature and pull out that biophilia that we all have in us, that need to really connect with nature and other living beings. We really try to bring that to life with these kids so that they can, find a little bit of hope or a little bit of grounding in where they're at and what they're doing, and let them know that they're okay and that there's others out there feeling the same way, but there is a way to move forward. So we feel that from my experience on working not just with the kids at my house and my program, but all of the other places that I volunteer at and that I work for, I haven't seen anything negative come out of this. I always, when we go back and we look at the data and we look at, the pre-assessments with the post-assessments, something has always shifted, something has always changed. So with our program, I do incorporate a male facilitator plus a female facilitator, which is myself, and an RN. And the reason why we have an RN not only is for the safety aspect of things, but also because I need somebody who can stand a little bit in the background and watch and document as we see shifts happening. So we're looking for shifts in threes with the horses and threes with the kids, and well, in adults. And that way we can see what is shifting inside of them and how can we build on that? How can we get that to really come out? Or is it something that we need to, is it a negative shift that we're seeing? And do we need to kind of accommodate and look at that? You know, what we have also found is that everything with the horses, positive or negative, is a positive experience, because sometimes they're teaching us what not to do and sometimes they're teaching us what to do. So it really brings that self-awareness piece that so many don't have, you know, and so many of the kids don't realize that, you know, with the way they talk, with the way they speak, with their body language, that's very, it's very impactful to others and to themselves. So, you know, we've enjoyed doing what we're doing, and we hope to work with Nantucket. I could go on to why I've come to Nantucket and why I was looking to go there to a farm, but I'm not sure whether that's something where maybe you guys want to question me, or would you like me to kind of roll right into
I'd like
that?
you to go ahead with the reason why you came here first, and then we'll go ahead with questions.
Okay, great.
And one other thing, I think if you could explain, I mean, I think we've read it, but just how the actual experience with the animals is, the interaction with the animals. Okay.
Okay, so if we're looking at the 6-hour program, with both the 6-hour and the 3-hour program, it's divided into segments, you know, 15 to 20 minutes of interaction with the animals. And then we kind of dissect it. We kind of go back, we let them have a little bit of soak time, whether it's a snack or whether it's have a drink of water and socialize for a few minutes, and let the kids collaborate and talk about exactly what their experience was. And then we sit down as facilitators and we try to pull out what their experience was, how did that impact them, and what did they see how the horses reacted? Because really this all comes back to the horses' reactions, and what did that show or teach them? What did they learn not to do? Well, how was their approach with the horse? Should they had maybe gone a little bit slower? You know, how do we like that in life as people? Do we like to be approached quickly? Do we like to be approached, you know, aggressively and assertively? You know, so because it's tailored to the age group, what they're struggling with, which the pre-assessments help us with that, then we know what type of activities to do with them. So one of my favorite activities with the kids, which can take up to an hour, hour and a half, is doing floor is lava, where we give them objects to use to get to a horse, and they can't touch the ground. And they have to work as a team to get there and get there as a team. So now we're looking at how they're communicating with each other. What is their problem solving skills, and how are they utilizing them? And then how are they approaching the animals? And then they get, you know, to get the horse and bring them back to us again and never touch the ground. So it's not always necessarily the direct contact with the horse. And this is not a riding program. Everything is on the ground. We really, well, for us anyways, in the herd, we believe that the miracles happen from the ground and not necessarily riding, yet I'm a riding instructor. So the interactions with the horses, you know, the brushing and the grooming and the self-care that the kids learn about doing with the horses, we hope that they can transfer that to themselves. But really, we do a lot of fun activities that teach them to really work together, and the horses kind of lead it, you know, by their reactions, and they teach the kids how to approach and how not to approach. You know, where is their fear taking over, and is that present, even though we might not be able to see it, the horses will pick up on it. And that's where the facilitators really come in, and they can tailor as to how things are going and shift it as needed. So again, with the 3-hour program, it would be probably, you know, we sit down, we introduce everybody, we talk a little bit about ourselves, and then we go right into an activity with the horse. And it will depend on, like I said, what age group I'm working with, what exactly showed up on their pre-assessments, also what, you know, whoever has referred them to them, I have a quick 8-question questionnaire as to, where do they think that the child or the young adult is at, so that, although the child might be filling this out and they see where they're at, somebody looking from the outside sees where they're at a little bit better. So it can really help us tailor exactly what we need to do and how we need to work with the horses with them. And then, like I said, we stop and we for a little bit and we we assess everything. Like, how did it go? What did you think? What was your ideas? What did you see the horses' reactions were? How do you think you could have improved on that? And we build from there. And the 6-hour session is really the same as the 3, except for it's a little bit longer, a little bit larger, and we can do greater activities, longer activities with it. How I decided to come to Nantucket is because not only, and my husband's worked out there for quite a few years, actually almost 20. So he's seen the changes and how things have changed out there over the past couple of decades. But the bigger reason why I decided to go out there and see if there was a farm that had horses that thought that I could maybe come out and facilitate some of these sessions out there. I really had not thought about bringing students or people to my place, but that's how this has kind of worked out. Was because we have family that live on an island in Maine, and we've seen the devastation of, I'm going to try not to cry because we've really seen it firsthand of the devastation that it can be living on an island for some of the youth that are out there. Some of the things that they see between, the ACEs, we've just seen the negative impact between drugs, alcohol, family relationships, and living on an island. We've just seen how that happens and how it impacts them firsthand. So I don't live up in Maine. I can't bring my horses up to Maine. I can't bring the kids down here, but I do know of other islands that are close by to me that I could reach out to. So that's really, it was just a matter of, I'm really trying to help who's in need. And like I said, I was willing to hop on a boat and go to a farm if they had services or horses available, or somebody would want me to facilitate this out there. But from what I found out is that it wasn't available. So why not open up my place? Let's see if we can do it.
Okay, thank you. I'm gonna start with Linda, and then I'm gonna move down around to the people that are up in the Zoom.
I applaud what you're doing. I'll give you a little bit of my background. I was a professional show jumper. I had 2 thoroughbreds off the track. And so I trained and I've taught. And I'm a big proponent of this type of therapy. Because I used one of my horses for somebody who was disabled, and he hated men, but when he got on the horse, he was perfectly happy to have him there. He was very gentle with him. Otherwise, he would throw you off if you were a male, hated men. So I've seen the therapeutic benefits, particularly when it relates to horses. My concern all along has been that when I was young here, I would come here in the summer, my horse would stay in New Jersey, and there was a public stable. We could rent a horse and, ride him down the paths going out to Cisco. There isn't anything here. There's quite a few stables here. There are quite a few horses here. But nobody rents them out. Nobody does anything with them. There's some private lessons, things like that. So that was my concern, is that there is no more public stable. If you were to collaborate with somebody on Nantucket, it would have to be somebody who has a couple of horses in a stable on their own, with a horse that was, temperamentally able to do that, because it's a very specific type of animal, as you know, that is able to sort of empathize with whatever child they're dealing with or whatever adult issues they're dealing with. With horses, it can be incredibly sensitive. So that was my biggest issue, is how do you, if there's no opportunity to collaborate with anybody over here, you don't know the animals that are over here. You can't ship them back and forth. And having kids travel, 3 of my grandchildren went over to the Cape to learn how to ride because there wasn't anywhere here. So they would go over the Cape every weekend to be taught how to ride. So I know that how egregious that can be financially. I laud the program, but I'm having an issue because there's no way for you to collaborate with anybody here on a known entity, a known horse. So that's my concern, but I applaud you for the program. I love this program. I always have.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna clarify something. I believe the collaboration she has is going to be with Fairwinds and the Boys and Girls Club. She's offering the program there, picking up the children on the Cape and
Right.
bringing them to the facility. I think her long-term, from the conversation I had with her, is hopes to find somebody eventually down the line here to do a collaboration with, and we have gotten some names of people that are interested in
Well,
possibly
I
doing
know a
this.
lot of these guys.
So, I think that, I just want to make that clear to everybody that that is what's in there.
Yeah, I got
Okay.
that, but my concern is still that the kids would have to go off island, and my three kids were not disabled or had any other issues other than they want to learn how to ride, because it's genetic for them. But it's the children that are already struggling. It was a big grind, and we eventually had to stop it.
Right.
So I understand how difficult it's going to be to collaborate, to go, even if they're collaborating with those two entities, and it's great. It's still difficult to travel over there, take the time to get on the boat, take the time to do that, and then come back. And many parents don't have the bandwidth, and they can't send the kids without an adult. So there's a lot of logistical issues for me on this particular program until we do get some sort of concrete collaboration with somebody who's got animals here that can handle this. But not every horse, knowing how schizophrenic one of my horses was, not every horse is gonna be able to be that type of empathetic or calm, where they're not gonna cause a problem and scare the kid completely. Because my last horse, other people were getting on it. He would just say, you're off. And that was it. So it's a great program, but I'm having trouble because of that component of it.
So one of the, am I allowed to
Yes,
comment
you
on
can
that?
rebuttal with
Okay.
that, yes.
Okay,
Please do.
excellent. So one of the resources that I have looked into, well, let me go step back a little bit here. So I did add in to the financial part of this room for support to come with the kids over, to have chaperones, to have two chaperones to come over. So the boat tickets were included in that. Obviously that was travel was included in that, lunch if it was a 6-hour stay. So that was included so that chaperones would come. I was hoping that maybe and the community that's out there, the small community, that families would be able to trust a couple of people to be able to go with them for the day, or whether they just go on the ferry and then they go their way and we take them from there. I'm not sure exactly how that would work, but we did put some monies into the grant application for chaperones to participate in this and be able to participate in the programs that we're running as well, because it's always fun to have other people involved. The other side of it was why I put in 2 different bids was I thought exactly about that, is that doing that consistently week after week after week would be extremely taxing on all the kids, the families, all of that. So that's why I put 1 bid in for a 3-week program so that we could compile, 3 weeks in a row. And also why I did a 1 6-hour session, like 1 full day of having a fabulous experience, coming over, working with the animals, building your self-esteem, some self-confidence, so that was exactly the reason why I put those 2 different programs in, because I don't think that this could be sustainable in a situation if they were coming week after week for 30 weeks. I just don't see how that could happen. The other side of that is doing the smaller programs that with the experiential learning, though, yes, you could extend it out to multiple weeks, much more so. One of the other programs that I've written is a 6-week program, but I still thought that might potentially be too much for the travel on Nantucket. But is that if you do it too often, it just becomes something to do. They're not necessarily learning from it.
Right.
It just becomes an activity to go and do. So although in experiential learning, every experience we have does change us. But I think that to make this a novel and to have it really have the impact that it needs to have, it should be limited. It shouldn't be something that they're doing weekly. It's something that you do for either the 3 weeks or the 1 session, and then maybe you come back 6 weeks or 6 months later and do it again. And see where the kids have changed, see where the adults have changed, and go from there with another pre-assessment and post-assessment. So I absolutely agree that this would not be sustainable if it was the same kids coming every week after week for a year.
Well, here's
And
the
we
other,
wouldn't be able to impact as many kids either. I
Oh,
don't
no.
feel as if we'd be able to.
I've got one more point on this, having a child that quit playing basketball and he was really good at it because he had diagnosed anxiety disorder and he wouldn't get on that damn boat.
Mm,
He hadn't been on a plane in 11 years and he's already agitating because we're leaving for New Jersey on Sunday and he's looking at the weather report and the
Oh, yeah.
wind and everything. So when you have a child with anxiety disorder, whatever is going on, getting on that boat is a challenge, first off. The travel and in some weather conditions, you wish the boat never left the dock. So I'm just concerned about the travel component of this whole thing. It's not always smooth sailing over there. Because in the wintertime, obviously, we're dealing with just the High Line after the beginning of January. And it is not a good travel time. So I'm just concerned primarily about that part of it.
Okay,
So
I'm
there's
gonna-
also-
I'm gonna move on to the next questions, just because we're running out of time.
And I do need to start driving. I have lessons that start at 12:30, so.
Okay, we're gonna have a few more questions. I'm gonna go with Veronica because her hand was up, and then if anybody up there has a question, I'll go to Joanna after Veronica.
Okay, Michelle, I want to applaud you for your clear explanation of exactly what you're doing. I understand the travel difficulties, but I also looked at the travel as a positive for some. I understand about anxiety on boats, but there are some of our population that doesn't have an opportunity to get off the island. So I looked at it as sort of like a side effect of this. It's not the main reason, but it could be a positive for or some of our population. And just one clarification, the 3-week and the 1-day program. How many students were you anticipating with the 3-week program? Because I think I've got it confused in my mind.
So they're both 8 students at a time with 2 chaperones.
Okay.
So that I think I did both of them for 39 weeks is what I put in for, because again, the fact that I was taking into consideration travel, boats get canceled. My husband's been traveling over there for almost 2 years every day. So, and I have been stuck on the island that our family lives on. So I understand the weather and the anxiety that goes with that. So I think I did it for 39 weeks, and I believe, and again, I apologize, I'm driving, so I can't pull up my notes, but we would be able to impact about 112 kids doing the 3-week program if we were able to complete 39 weeks total. With the one-day program, the 6-hour program, obviously the numbers were impacted much more greatly as to how many people we could really touch with these services.
Thank you.
Joanna?
Where is the facility?
So we're in Sandwich.
Okay, so how long does it take to get there from the boat?
It takes my husband 19 minutes.
Yeah, 20. Done.
Yep.
Okay. Okay.
Yep, 19 minutes.
None of
And
us
I do, so I put in, because I've spoken to Long Taxi about drive, it was $240 round trip. But I also, coincidentally, my brother-in-law started working for DART doing smart DART transportation, which is from place to place. So I just talked to them today to see if I could set something up, if that would be a possibility of utilizing them. It'd be $3 each way, so it'd be $6 per person round trip, and they would bring them directly from the ferry to our house nonstop. I was like, oh wait, I didn't even know that was available. So I have a message out to them to discuss that with me sometime, not today, obviously, but sometime this week.
Yeah.
Fabulous. Joanna, any other questions?
Yeah, I'm back to the dollar question. So when you're saying 3 weeks programs, 8 weeks, like that's 108 people for a whole year? Or is it, like, I don't understand the number of people thing, and then I
I
want
think
to have
she
a
said
question about the
39
travel.
Joanna, I'm gonna clarify.
Yeah.
She said it would go over 39 weeks with 3-week sessions or 1-day sessions.
112 kids total.
112 kids total, so 3 weeks into the 39
Okay,
weeks.
and the
Okay.
39 weeks, are you excluding the summer? Because obviously I don't think this would work in the summer.
So I took out holiday weeks, school vacation weeks, and left some room for travel. And I think July was not in there either. I'm driving, so I don't have those
Okay.
those specifically.
Neither
Okay.
should I, frankly.
Okay,
Okay,
that's all. I'm good.
okay, great. John?
I don't think I have any further questions. I think the explanation is clear and the questions addressed and a thing that I would have thought of.
Okay, Sue?
I think I'm okay.
Okay. Michelle, I think you did a very nice presentation.
Yeah.
Clearly, you are very confident in the program that you're running. And you're very well informed that you were able to just talk from your heart and telling us exactly how this program runs. So thank you for your time. If we have any additional questions that do come up, we will reach out to you. Otherwise, we will let you know where we stand.
Well, thank you so much. I greatly appreciate the opportunity. I really do, and I hope that we can figure something out. I'm super excited. So thank you so much. Thanks everyone.
Thank
Okay.
you. Thank you.
I'm gonna now
Okay.
recuse myself.
Yes,
What's this one coming up?
Yeah.
Fair ones.
fair ones.
Yeah.
Hi, Morgan. Hi, Jason. Could you please, we're sorry that we're running a little late. Could you do us a favor and just state your name clearly and the organization you're with, and then we'll go on to your presentation.
Absolutely. I'm Morgan Baker with Fairwinds.
Jason
Hi.
Bridges from Fairwinds.
Amanda
Okay, and I think, I believe that you know everybody that's here, but just for the record, we will say our names very quickly, starting with Linda.
Linda Williams.
Dorothy.
Hi, Amanda. Sorry, I didn't see you there.
She saw me, yeah.
I
sorry.
did not see you.
Okay.
Okay.
Veronica Bolchik.
Joanna,
Joanna Roach.
John,
John Balash.
and me, Dorothy. So, if you could please we're gonna have you just start your presentation and we'll ask questions.
Dorothy, there's one other person here. Karen.
Hi, Karen Latimer,
Karen,
Health
update.
Imperatives.
Oh, hi, Karen. Sorry, I didn't see you. I
That's
apologize.
okay.
Okay, who's gonna take the lead on this, guys?
Morgan,
take
artist? Yeah, thank you.
Absolutely. So this is a collaboration between Fairwinds, Health Imperatives, the Family Resource Center, and our house. The objective of this is to host monthly group nights targeted for youth of different ages with specific topics based off of the current needs of what is going on in the schools right now. So a big focus on self-identity, LGBTQ, bullying, empowering youth in the developing minds of the different ages. In addition to 2 larger events that we bring in speakers from off island to reach a targeted audience.
Where?
Where will the group nights be held?
Yeah.
Either at our house or the Family Resource Center, depending on the size.
Okay.
Do you have anything else to provide us with this?
Oh, I would love both either Karen and Amanda, our clinicians, to talk a little bit more from the clinician side for these targeted group nights.
Sure. Well, for our groups, from Health Imperatives, we can offer comprehensive sexual health education, and we can also offer harm reduction services. We can offer education on Narcan and overdose prevention, and also we can offer groups on substance use disorder and prevention.
So those were our areas that we were looking to host or either use some of our staff on the island or send over some of our staff from off island to host those groups. And our staff also speaks Spanish, so we would be able to see, a lot of the community members.
And then, do you guys have any, can I go ahead?
Please go ahead.
So we thought, given that we share space with health imperatives and given the work that they do and that we do, it would be helpful for us to collaborate and be able to provide more groups for these younger kids and then kids up to 25. We thought partnering with the Family Resource Center as well as our house would be important because they're targeting different age groups and they also have the early adults. We obviously, there's not a lot of groups on the island right now doing education prevention. And the other topic that comes up a lot that we're seeing is there's a lot of kids, struggling with their identity or transitioning. And we have a wonderful clinician that we have available to come to the island and also do support groups for us. She has a lot of experience. She identifies as, or they identify as trans. So our goal really is to kind of meet the needs of the kids and provide more, safe groups where they can come and talk and share and learn from each other.
I want to add in when did a lot of listening and we met with Health Imperatives, the Family Resource Center for I think 3 different meetings of brainstorming of like, what could we do the most effective, what's missing, and groups kept coming up of peer-to-peer groups and trying to get the youth together. And that's really hard to do, but if we can have them at different places, and the Family Resource Center, Fairwinds, and Health Imperatives kind of made sense. We have this little triangle, we're connected to Health Imperatives, and we can kind of supplement each other. So Amanda could, or any clinician could sit in different groups that Health Imperatives runs and vice versa, and the harm reduction. And so we kept coming back to groups and getting people, kids next to each other. And there's a reason why that there's not a lot of those, because it's difficult, it's hard to do. But we think with the right incentives and food and communications and marketing outreach that we could get it going.
Okay, do you have anything else?
No, I think with all of us, we have the capacity and we have the ability to identify kids that are needing, more support and be able to provide those groups.
Okay. I'm gonna, this time I'm gonna start with Veronica.
Okay. I have 2 questions. How are you going to do your outreach and recruiting for this?
I think that's one of the
groups.
I'm sorry. I think that's one of the benefits of our house as well, is they have the youth there. So with that pre-existing relationship, we'll truly be able to come in and expand upon that, in addition to social media, flyers, direct outreach, peer-to-peer.
We also have, a very close collaboration with the public schools. So working with them and getting the word out there. We see a lot of clients that are kids and young adults in treatment here that have identified the need for like support groups. And so we can get referrals from Fairwinds, from our house, and obviously posting on social media and, reaching out to the schools.
Okay.
Veronica, I also would add in, the Family Resource Center is really coming along and getting robust engagement. So engaging with, as Amanda was saying, existing clients here through Fairwinds, existing clients, connections through Health Imperatives, but the Family Resource Center is getting more and more into the Portuguese speaking and Spanish speaking and English speaking, but into these communities that are very hard to get into. So I think with Health Imperatives in those communities and the Family Resource Center, we have existing access. It doesn't guarantee that anybody will come, but we would start internally in addition to Morgan and everyone doing the kind of external outreach.
Okay. That's good. That's very good. I guess my main interest also is we want to reach the kids that are in crisis. There's no doubt about that. But my concern is also for the kids that are pre-crisis or I always call them the kids that are lost in the middle, you know. In education, we always did a great job for the kids on the top and the kids on the bottom, but the kids in the middle just sort of get lost. Can you have some mechanism to maybe reach those clients?
For
Okay.
each group night, we also plan to retrieve feedback of specific topics and specific education points that the youth are interested in. So for example, in one of our meetings, we were discussing the concept around bullying. What does bullying mean? It doesn't mean teaching someone not to bully. It's like, okay, what does it mean if you don't invite somebody to your table? That is unintentionally including them. So in addition to these group nights, we do plan to ask the youth, what do you need? What do you need from us to make this successful and educational for not only yourself, but those around you?
And I think Victoria also, I mean, we obviously see a lot of kids in treatment, and they may not be in crisis yet, but they are struggling with different things, and that comes up in therapy. So having clinicians be able to make those referrals. We also, as you know, cover crisis. And, some of these kids are obviously more in the crisis mode, but then some of them are just struggling and they or their parents reach out to crisis for us. So we're kind of meeting them and getting them more support in that moment so they don't escalate to the point where they need a higher level of care. So I also think that just with the crisis work we're doing, getting the word out, we can get kids that way as well.
Okay. Thank you. And you also did touch a little bit on incentives because that was one of my questions. So just either a physical incentive or, whether it's food or whatever, just to, I assume that's what you're talking about.
Yeah, talking about food and then also maybe like Cumbies gift cards or like gift cards to hub places that the kids go and hang out. So I think it's to be able to give them an incentive to come. And then I think it's also important to empower them to get the feedback of like, what's working, what's not working, like, what do you want to see? Because they're the ones that are going to tell us the truth in terms of what they need.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Linda.
I was going down the same road that Veronica was going down, having been in the schools with 8 kids and coached, and then I taught something in school because we couldn't get them to come to groups. I was part of the Safe Place group that went into the high school. Well, I actually did it all in preschool all the way to seniors, where I taught them to be safe, strong, and free, what bullying was, how to say no, how to know that you're being abused or protect yourself. They wouldn't go to groups because you had the sports kids, you had the kids in the clubs, you had the kids that were struggling academically, you have the kids that you're already seeing. My concern is the same as Veronica's. How do you reach those kids that are not the top of the class, not the bottom of the class, not the ones already getting help? And 90% of the group is this middle group. And I don't know how you're going to reach them. They don't generally want to join a group. They have too much homework. They have too many sports. Or they have too many other things going on. I'm concerned about timing, access to the location. Not everybody's going to be able to drive there. I live out there right behind it. I just have some logistical issues. It's a great presentation. It's a great program. It's a great idea. Having done it for so many years in the schools, I think there's a logistical issue that has to be, you got to have reality here. Kids don't necessarily like to join a group. They don't necessarily like to talk about something. I think we need to circle back on the incentive issue, and they've just so pizzaed out. I don't think pizza's going to be the incentive, frankly. So I have some logistical issues. Great idea, great program, great collaboration. Having done it, I just see a lot of logistical issues that you're not going to get the biggest bang for the buck that you think you're going to get because kids are too scattered. They may want to talk about something, but I'm not sure they're going to join a group at 5 o'clock in the afternoon to talk about that. So I just don't have it fleshed out enough where I see how it's going to work mechanically, where you're going to actually get a lot of kids to participate. That where they were forced to participate when I taught it in school because it was part of their regular curriculum every single year. that I would go in and have these things, and there was in a classroom setting, and we got a lot of questions, and we had a lot of discussion, and it was fantastic. But they were in that room, and they knew they had to be in that room, and they didn't have to take time out of the day after they were out of school to actually participate in that kind of group setting. So I'm not sure this is gonna work outside of doing it as a health component or some other class component or social, social studies or whatever they call it these days. I think you need to really look at how mechanically this is gonna work. They're not coming out to the Badlands, to our house in humongous numbers, other than the kids that you're already seeing and servicing. So mechanically, I see a problem here.
Okay. Does anybody want to address that? Jason, did I see your hand up?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, we're right there with you, Linda. We talked about this as we were coming up with this. And even consider, like, do we not do groups? They're so hard, right? But we're like, but this is what's needed, because I hear from the clinicians here over years saying, man, if we just, I have these high school girls, and I asked them, like, we need a group for high school girls so they don't feel alone. Would they go to it? That's existing clients. But there's just no groups here. We know that's one of the hardest things to do, but we think it's worth trying. We really do. And I think with Health Imperatives, Family Resource Center, our house, it's a nice synergy with everyone that we could do it. It's a bit of a moonshot. I mean, it's a lot easier just to have speakers come in, you pay them, you see who shows up at the high school auditorium. But we all thought that we should give this a shot. And
well, they're a captive audience when they're in a classroom, this same program that you're talking about. But when you're in the school setting, they can't get out of that room. And then they know they can't get out of the room, and they all participated in, every kid in the room was participating. It was phenomenal doing it that way. But if you're trying to do it outside the school setting, I think you're going to have a bit of an issue.
Okay, I'm going to move on to the next questions up here. Joanna, I saw your hand up.
Yep, I wonder, how many people do you think are going to come to the groups, like over the course of a year? Like, if you were successful, what would be the number of students you would have?
For each group, right, we're anticipating between 10 and 15. 15 would be great. The first group night, we are realistic in the aspect that it may have a smaller amount, but with each month, it'll continue to grow.
So number of people served over the course of a year is, like, what's your best estimate?
So about 70, because if we start it in December.
if 70 different human beings, youth showed up to this, I'd be high-fiving everyone.
Yeah.
Because that's the first year. It's not even a full year. It's like what, 7 or 8, 9 months. And then that could build on top of that. And so that 70 maybe becomes 100, that 100 becomes 120.
But maybe you have to start somewhere. I mean, I have some concerns similar to what everyone else is saying. Are there other places that you can go that are more of a hangout? Right? I get our house, but some kids won't go there. And I'm just not sure. Like, this goes to the issue of the community center, right? Because I think that without a place where kids can go to hang out, where they don't feel like they're making a special trip to go to a special group, like you're reaching them where they already are, right? Like, that's what I'm concerned about.
I mean, that's one of the reasons why we partnered with the Family Resource Center too, because it's kind of a known place amongst, especially this age group, you know, and it's a place where they can come, people aren't there after hours, you know, there's more anonymity, plus it's also easier to get to. Like, I understand the concerns about our house.
And there's no stigma. If there is stigma with, like, I don't want to go to Fairwinds, somebody see me over there. The Family Resource Center doesn't really have that stigma. You could be going in there in that complex for anything.
Right. Right. Okay, that's it. Thanks.
John, do you have any questions?
I think I'm a better listener than I am a contributor on this one.
Okay. I guess when you talk about having 70, up to 70 participants, a support group usually is a group of people that gets together and it grows within itself. So it isn't usually 70 people in a support group. you would maybe have 10, if you're lucky, in a good support group that would stick it out throughout a year. Would that be correct? I mean, Amanda, speaking to you with your clinical knowledge, if, you know, a good support group is, sorry. A good support group, you know, you're lucky when you get a handful, if not a few more, that actually make a difference, right? And it's how many times, consistency with them is important, because of course, you know, if you can affect 10 kids throughout a year, you're doing something well, because that 10 kids will usually contribute to the help of a lot of other people, right? That's what we know. And support groups aren't usually like manifested into major numbers like this. And that's a concern. When I look at this, I'm saying, well, 70, are you doing so many different support groups that you're going to be able to curtail those people throughout the whole year? Is that what your hope is?
With each group night, it's going to have a specific topic catered to specific youth going through those challenges. And so it's not that those 10 people will continue. I mean, we would love for those 10 people to continue to come each month, but each month will have a different theme specifically to a topic that may not be applicable to the first set of students from the prior month.
So it's not really a support group. It's actually like a one-time educational support in an area, because a support group usually carries on over a long distance period of time. So what you're actually offering is,
For a specific purpose.
yeah. So what you're offering is actually a variety of different educational tools for people in this age group. Am I correct? Is that a better way of describing it versus a support group?
I mean, Dorothy, my experience with groups is there, like, the best is to have like a time frame in terms of how long you're gonna have that group. You know, and so, I mean, my hope is that we have it for an extended period of time, each group, and try to get as many kids as possible, and then do a new topic, you know, the next time. So, you know, I think any group takes time to build, and like, once people start, then they kind of spread the word and be like, this is a good support for me. So my hope is that it's X amount of weeks that we do it, so we have the same group of kids and we go over X, you know, whatever we need to do, and then transition to another topic.
Oh, so if you did one meeting, you might go for the whole month.
Yeah.
In support groups in that one area of discussion. It wouldn't be a thing. So the month would actually work on a different issue each time.
Yeah.
Okay, so what happens if after the month, you know, that need of that support group continues?
Then I think we have to, you know, evaluate this ongoing, because it's a newer thing for the island, and if there's a need, we need to keep, you know, the group going. Like, I can think of, you know, a group for kids. You know, I hear so many young kids that are struggling with their identity or trying to figure out who they are, and they don't feel like there's a safe place to talk about. And so I can imagine a group like that, we might have to continue to go, like, run ongoing, you know, so they feel like they have a place to come and like be with other kids like themselves. You know, whereas some other groups are more educational, where they can be more shorter term. Like, that's why we're gonna ask for feedback from the kids, because we want to hear their voice. And if they said, look, we need to continue this, then like, we're gonna figure out a way to continue it.
Okay, so clearly in the presentation that wasn't, we didn't understand that. That's why my question came up as to whether that would be just a one-time or it would be continuing throughout that month. So thank you for the clarification on that, Amanda.
You're welcome.
Yeah, because I figured the
Dorothy,
kids are
you have-
gonna take their cues from them, whatever they feel they need to talk about.
Yeah.
Right, I have a question about that.
Yeah, Joanna?
How, I guess the question that I have is that there are some things that are happening in the school that I think the kids could need some support with, but they are not necessarily going to go to a place, to a meeting. What, in terms of the collaboration with the schools, like are there ways for you to say, show up at football practice and get 20 minutes to talk to the team? Or are there ways for you to show up at weight room? Or are there ways for you to show up where there are already kids who are there and might need to process things or might have questions to ask about things that are going on? Because some of the issues that are coming up, and some of them have happened recently, there's been no communication. right? And so the kids are, what happens, they make up what they don't know. And it would be good if there was some intervention and some education around some of the things that are happening.
Yes,
But
go ahead, sorry.
as a mom, my kid is not going to seek out a meeting to go to hear about this. But if you caught him where he was, he would listen.
Outside of the context.
I think that's a great point,
Yeah.
Joanna, and I
That's
think
where I
that's
got 'em.
something,
Well,
you know,
that's right.
we collaborate with the schools ongoing. And I know the Family Resource Center has a part-time clinician, and so he's going in and doing some groups there. So that's not to say if we were to get this funding, we could go and talk to Sherry and Deb and stuff at the school and say, look, like, we're doing this, like, is there any way we can like work with your teams or like work and come in, during parts of classes and stuff. I mean, I think you're right. I mean, some kids would go to a group, but then there are other kids are gonna be like, absolutely not, like, meet me where they're at. And where they're
Right.
at is.
Well, yes. And I think it's this group of kids that are in the middle because stuff is happening and there are questions.
Yeah, but I think, can I interject here for a second? And Joanna, my concern here is that some of what our issue is actually with what the school is doing and not with what the outside sources are doing. It would be great if the school would better collaborate with places like Fair Winds and the Family Resource Center
Right.
and Health Imperatives and provide these programs. So I think some of it is clearly part of the reason this came up, this whole thing was the non-movement of the school within these categories that we're really concerned about. I do have a question to ask you, Amanda. Hold on.
That's what I was getting at, is that they're captive audience up there. This is a great program. Just grab them where they are. The school has to get a grip here.
Yeah, we need some school ownership in it, and that's like the biggest part of, I think, questions that had came up and was, is the school taking any ownership in any of these things and helping us in the community in doing collaborations? I just want to check on something because there was a question out here by Linda about children getting to these programs. And is Our House offering their van service to children with this program to pick them up? Maybe if they're leaving sports programs and coming to the school, is that a viable thing in your in this presentation? Because I do know that they have a van, right, that picks up at the school after school.
Our House.
Our House, that's what I'm just asking, if Our House is, if this is gonna be like after a sporting event, are they offering to pick up kids that might want to go to these things and pick them and take them out to Our House for the support group?
And take them home. That's
Yes.
a liability.
Do we know that? Is that something you could check into for us?
We can talk,
Yes.
we can talk to Pauline about that. That'd be easy.
Okay, I would love that answer. That would be great. And I guess one of the other questions in this, Amanda, maybe if somebody, or Jason, if somebody could get back to us, Morgan, any three of you, on whether the school would be willing to take on a part of this with you, whether the school is willing to get into this collaboration in maybe facilitating not this in the Our House, but facilitating this, as Linda suggested, within a school program. If you guys can let us know that sooner than later, that would be really great.
Yeah, I can reach out to Sherry, because like I said, FRC that's affiliated with Fairwinds, they're doing some groups at the school. They just started. So I think they'd be hopefully willing to have us help as well. So I'll reach out to Sherry.
Okay, I'd really appreciate that. And if you could get us an answer, that would be really great. I don't know if anybody else has any other comments within the group that's asking. No? Okay, thank you guys very much. Appreciate your taking your time.
Thank you all.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay,
Bye.
bye.
Thank you, everyone.
What's next?
Sherry Ray, she's over here, sitting in the back, hiding from us on purpose.
Please come right on over.
We're in there huddling for warmth.
It's so cold in here. We are so
At
sorry.
least they take the air conditioner out. Just in time. Yeah.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to walk in.
That's okay. You're welcome.
I know, but I'm still like, oh.
I
know, I'm like, no.
Again.
Thank you guys for having me.
You're welcome. So we're gonna go through this again, I think you already know everybody, but just in case you don't, they'll say their name to you so that you know they're up there. Starting with John,
John Village,
Joanna,
Going around.
Sue,
Sue Minton.
Linda,
Hey, how are you?
And Veronica Volcher.
Veronica. Good to see you.
and you know
Hello,
Jarko.
Heather.
That's
Hi,
Heather.
Jericho.
Tamika.
Oh, I know Tamika. We're baseball moms. together.
Oh, okay, there you go. Good sport to be a mom.
It is, it's really fun.
We're gonna let you do what happens is you will do a presentation to us of what your program is.
Okay.
What your hopes are for the program,
Mhm.
and then we will ask you questions in
Sounds
response,
good.
okay?
Awesome.
So
Well,
the floor is yours.
thank you for having me.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys. And so I wrote a proposal for Nantucket STAR, and STAR stands for Sports and Therapeutic Accessible Recreation.
Love this program.
It's great. We're in our 20th year, Linda. I know, which is amazing. And STAR has been providing inclusive adaptive recreation and events and activities for individuals with diverse needs and abilities for about 20 years now. And the program that I wrote, well, let me just say our mission first. Our mission is to offer inclusive recreational activities that support and celebrate diverse strengths and abilities through collaborations with families and community partners. You know, inclusion is at the heart of what we do, and we can't do that alone as one entity. So it is part of our mission to reach out to different organizations and groups and work together with families to help our friends and participants with some diverse needs feel more as a part of the community and just have a more meaningful life within the community. You know, we deal with a wide range of abilities, you know, from emotional to behavioral to physical disabilities, cognitive disabilities. You know, we don't say no to anybody, and we welcome peers to our program. But a lot of our participants, for whatever reason, have trouble joining traditional activities. So what STAR does is we have our own, a wide variety of year-round programming that, excuse me, that supports these children, from art classes to cooking classes to water sports to swimming. You know, we've started doing some sensory friendly movies, which is great, that are open to the community to really help our participants have that experience of going to a sport or a program or something like that, and have the support of skilled staff, therapists, whether it's an occupational therapist or a speech therapist or, you know, whomever, there to support them through those activities. And one of my board members had actually come up with a great saying that was, they're with us until they don't need us. And it's our goal that, you know, at some point, some of our friends will be able to transition on. And we actually have a student who plays hockey with the hockey team now, the recreational hockey team, who has done STAR programming, but now is able to do traditional programming. So it's, you know, some of our friends stay with us for everything, and some of our friends are able to transition to other programs. And it's a great bridge for parents too, because I think as a parent of a child with diverse needs, there's so many other stressors involved, and STAR kind of breaks the ice with getting involved with other organizations. You know, like with our skating program, this proposal is for, you know, it's a safe way for families to visit the ice rink for the first time. You know, that pressure is off. They know that it is staffed by educators who are well-versed in their child's needs. You know, we've kind of done all the prep work to make it a really welcoming experience. And through a lot of our programming and skating programs, families have, you know, said, wow, thanks, you know, thank you. We didn't think we could do this, or I've never tried going there. And to me, that always gives me, you know, the goosebumps. I'm like, oh, that's so great. That's what it's all about. So the program that we're talking about today is our Stars on Ice, and it is our adaptive skating program, and it is so much fun. It's been running pretty much since the rink was there, yeah, and it is really fun. We run it 2 times a year for 6 weeks each session, and they're 50-minute sessions actively on the ice, but you know, I'd say probably about an hour when you figure getting them there, getting all geared up, getting off the ice. And it's really fun. And what we do is we meet our friends at the ice rink. We schedule private ice time. We make sure that, I don't know if anybody's ever been to free skate, but sometimes there's crazy lights and loud music and there's a lot of other people. And so we take that sensory overload away. We load, the lights are up, the music's off. It's a quieter, smaller group. We bring staff and volunteers who help support the children on the ice. We meet them at any level. We have some kids who zip around like hockey players. I mean, they're so good. And then we have other friends who are just joining the ice. They've never been on it before. They've never tried it. They maybe are afraid to try it. We meet everyone everywhere. We've had a couple participants who physically aren't able to actually skate. So we have sleds and we have the sleds
And you have the little push things.
and the
for
push
kids to
things.
hold on
Yep.
to.
And we have them on the push things, or I can think of two of my friends, and we put them in the sleds and we pull them around on the ice so they can have that experience of being free on the ice. And it's just really fun. So this program, not only is it amazing for our participants who maybe couldn't join a hockey team right away or popsicles or something like that right away. It's great for the parents too, because it gives them a nice respite, knowing that their child is cared for and safe and having fun and in a developmentally appropriate situation. Some parents will say, great, I'm going to go get coffee or go do, whatever during this hour. And other families love to sit and watch. And they're welcome to stay and watch. It's totally fine. We enjoy that too. So it's kind of a win-win for the kids and the families. And what we do with our skating program is, we really want these kids to feel part of the community, part of a group, because those situations can be challenging for them. So we not only are helping, skating, you think you're on ice skates, is a very individual thing, but we play games with them on the ice to really try to get them to enjoy not just being on the ice and building those skills, but working together and enjoying friends and building social skills, and building those verbal skills while they're on the ice. So we have a ring toss that we play, and we have, different visual cues that we'll play stop-go games all together. For some of our busier friends who are better at skating, we set up one end with a little hockey rink. We turn it sideways at the far end and put the goalposts out and just set up little mini, stick and puck kind of situations at the end, which is really fun for them to play together. And it's a really enjoyable program. So this proposal that I have put together is to support rink fees, rink rental, because we do pay to rent the rink. So it's to support that and to support our staff for that program.
I'm gonna ask this question before we start. Can you just tell us how many children would support?
So it depends on, how many register, and I would say between 14 and 16 typically is who registers. When I open registration, it's usually, I'll probably get, 12 to 14 right away. And then sometimes I get those last minute, like, oh my gosh, skating's starting, sign us up. So I would say between like 14 and 16 average. And then staffing is dependent on need. So it's kind of a tricky spot because, some of our friends do need a one-on-one with them on the ice the entire time that they're there. So, we have a base staff, usually about 5 to 7, I would say that we have, and then if I have a child who perhaps might need a bit more support, then I'll reach out for additional staffing. And we have volunteers too to support that as well.
And what is the age limit on the program?
So we don't really have an age limit on the program. We start at 4. I would say my oldest participant last year that registered, I had someone who was 21 register last year. And a lot of our friends who do start programming are still involved in the transition program at the high school, which goes up until age 22 as well. So, I would love to see us have more friends beyond that transition age join our programming. That's something that I think we would be really nice to be able to offer, but we start at 4
Mhm.
and we just go right up. I think my oldest for this coming session is 18. So
Nice.
it's predominantly school aged, which is great.
Okay, I just wanted to ask those two questions, because that wasn't answered in that before everybody does their thing, and then we'll get to it. So I'm gonna start with Sue, because you haven't started yet with questions. Do you have any questions?
I do have a question.
Okay.
You mentioned that you welcome peers.
Yes.
And I was wondering if you actively recruit peers, or are they siblings?
Both. That's a great question. So STAR has always welcomed peers for all of our programming. And what peers are great. They kind of, it's an automatic situation often. I have a sibling peer joining this session of skating. But what's great is sometimes we have peers who are siblings join the programming without their participant sibling. Last winter I had, we have this girl who does our programming, and she did not do skating, but her brother loves to skate and wanted to join the program as a peer. And it was amazing because he really made a social connection with a little boy who was just needing a friend on the ice that wasn't one of us, that wasn't a staff member. So it was really neat to see that that sibling say, hey, I know, sister's not doing this, but I want to join and I still want to be with my friends. So that was really nice. I also have a sibling volunteer who, once field hockey is over, she will be back with us for programming. She has a sibling who is off island right now, but she would volunteer she would work as a peer with her sister when her sister did programming, and now she just really enjoys coming and volunteering for us, which is great too. So it's a little bit of both. And I actually just reached out to the school within the past week, to the high school, about helping to bridge that gap of, I know students in the high school have community service hours and things they want to do. Yeah. So I had reached out to the guidance department to say, hey, just a reminder, we're always looking for peers. And I know that those guidance counselors are amazing and they know who might be
those 20 hours.
Yeah, who needs the 20 hours and who would be a good fit. And I've also, when I reached out this past week, inquired if there was anybody looking for volunteer hours that was multilingual. Because that, I think, is something that we could use a little bit more support with on our staff base too. So.
Yeah, well, I'm waiting for. Sue to
Yeah,
come back.
that was gonna be my next question about, if it's accessible to people who don't speak English as their primary language, so.
We're working on it. I wish that
Oh, what was that, John?
I have to leave. I'm sorry. I have an appointment at noon.
Okay, thanks, John.
Thanks, John.
Bye. I wish that I spoke more than one language.
Same.
Google Translate has been such a blessing in translating on my phone, because I've been able to text back and forth with families, and email back and forth in Spanish or Portuguese, and have some of those families join. What's helpful is that siblings often.
I was gonna say, there's gonna be a sibling of a younger kid.
Yeah.
That speaks English.
Exactly.
Parents don't, but the kids
But the
do.
siblings do, which has
Yeah.
been super helpful. But I did ask the guidance department when I reached out, I said, and if you have any friends that are looking for hours who speak Spanish or Portuguese, please, send them our way, because that is an area that I'm really trying to help us build upon. And the resource partnership here too has some support for, it's not for in-person, but it's translation services that I'm putting some of our documents together to hopefully have those translated. So we're working towards it.
That's great.
Yeah, thank
Okay,
you.
Joanna?
I think most of my questions were already answered. Thank you.
Okay. Linda?
Pretty much same thing I was gonna bring up to school, saying the 20 hours. All my kids went to the food pantry, but this is a lot more fun.
It
than
is
the
really
food
fun.
pantry on a Thursday.
It is really
or
fun.
Wednesday. But I watched this program start 20 years ago, and they were down at the jetties, they were on a boat, they
Mhm.
were doing a little sailing, they were doing this, they were doing that. I mean, I adore this program. I don't think you probably don't have the total number of people that have been served over the last 20 years, but it's hundreds.
It must be.
Hundreds. And the impact on these kids to be able to do something they can only usually sit on the sideline and watch someone else do.
the adaptive part of it is just phenomenal to me. I just love this program.
Thank you. It's one of a kind and it's so wonderful. And the more, I've been with Star now for 2 years this month, and the more I've been making community connections, it's heartwarming. There's so many people are just opening their doors to us and wanting to work with us and help support our participants. So it's really.
And it's unique to a small island, because we have so many different things. They can go to the Artists Association, would play with the clay. That's a big thing,
Yep.
with the tactile,
sensory,
the
yeah.
kids have sensory stuff. They can go to the Boys and Girls Club. There's all sorts of things they can do that you couldn't do maybe in a larger community that didn't really focus on these kids. But we have a lot more kids in this situation than we did in the past.
We do.
So, and we're getting them earlier and earlier and earlier now. So I'm very pleased with this. I love the skating thing.
It's so much fun.
It's so much fun to sit there and just watch them, because I get on the ice and fall over, though I did play ice hockey, and, you know, in the pond.
Yeah.
But not now. You know, I'd need one of those things to push around on the ice.
It's amazing. And to see their faces too, when, when they finally get out there and start zipping around, it's great. It's really fun.
Veronica?
Just one last question.
Of course.
Are any of your programs fee-based?
Yes, so
Okay.
we do charge a very small fee, just to help support.
Okay.
We charge $65, because we never want costs to be prohibitive. Raising a child with some diverse needs is
Expensive.
so expensive to begin with, and then being on an island with limited resources. So we do charge a nominal fee, and we also have, sibling discount. If a sibling comes, half off. If anybody for any reason can't pay, it's fine. We have scholarships. We never want it to be, we don't want anybody to say, oh gosh, I would love for my child to do that, but we just can't afford it.
Okay.
So we do charge a very small fee to offset, and the rink is
Very expensive.
wonderful.
50 minutes is incredible. Do they charge you the full ice time?
I'm not sure I know what they charge us, and I put it in my line budget. They charge us $325 a session, and I'm not sure if that's I don't know what they charge
Because
for.
ice time is incredibly
Yes,
expensive.
It's very expensive, and they are so welcoming and so kind to us, and just,
They give you the skates?
they give us the skates, they give us the helmets, they
Good.
store our toys, our beanbag toss, all, our son, they keep all those things there.
Do they offer you the skates for free?
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Okay, good.
They give us this, and anything, I mean, Joe has said many times like, oh, I might just pop out on the ice with you. I'd love to help out. And they're always there to greet us and to make things easy for us. We tweaked where we were meeting the children last year. We used to meet them kind of right where you walk into the rink
Right.
proper. And it was a little overwhelming. There was a lot of going on. So Joe said, well, we'll just get your locker room instead. And so she sets up a locker room for us to use now, which
Great.
has been really, really helpful. And they have so many different programs running out of that rink. So we're very grateful for what they do for us. It's awesome.
Okay, I'm gonna ask a couple questions. How was this funded before?
It's been funded through grants previously and fundraising.
Through grants?
Yeah.
And what is the possibility of you getting grants for this program? Or that just, if you didn't get this grant, would the program still run?
It would still run, and I would need to do a little bit more grant research to find a different, I think the Bruins Foundation did a little funding for it a while ago, but I haven't seen anything from them in a while.
When did it start? December?
Today.
So this would go.
This would go, and then
retroactive.
Yep. We also have a winter session too that will come up after the new year. So, we do funding, fundraising throughout the year to support programs, as different grants come in and different funding comes in. So, this will run. It starts today. So if anybody's at the rink around 4 o'clock, feel free to swing in, and take a gander at what we do.
Do any of the youth hockey programs work with you guys?
Not yet. Not yet. They're so busy and they're so great, but I would love to see some sort of
mingling in there.
Yeah,
That
it would be
really
really
nice.
fun.
Yeah.
It would be really fun, I think. They do come in typically right after, like as we're getting off the ice, they're usually coming in. And it is nice. We do have friends who are playing hockey come over and say, oh, hi, so-and-so. And, it is nice for them to see our friends on the ice.
I will make a personal statement on this. I started the swim program
I
at
know
First
you
Star.
did. Thank
And
you.
there was a child that was brought in that was in the normal swim program, and that was
Mm-hmm.
the reason I started it, because
Mm.
it was not. His needs were too big for the swim program, and they
Mhm.
didn't really want to cater. He wouldn't submerge his head in the water
Yeah.
or his ears. I can
Get
tell
it.
you now that he is swimming collegiately, and he's in his third year of collegiate swimming. Because we took the time in the STAR program to get him in the water and to feel that he could put water, his ears into the water. So I
What a
know
gift
that the
you gave
program
them.
he was one of the STAR
Mhm.
swimmers on the swim team through high school and is collegiate. So I think it's to understand that these programs, I know that can take a child that would never have the opportunity,
Mhm.
because you sort of got to get them over that
You
stump
have
of
to get
what
over that
it's.
hump of what that hesitancy
That
is,
fear
or
is.
figure out how to work with if there's some like a physical disability. It's figuring out a workaround, and I have an OT that is on the ice with us, and she's amazing to, in a way that I can't, because I don't have that training, and figure out ways to work and strengthen and get around some of these initial things. It's
Yeah, so I
just-
think it's important. I mean, it does, I've seen it where you can make a something
Mhm.
for a child that it would be closed off to in any
Mhm.
other way.
Yeah.
The program and all the tools that were available to the families
Mhm.
inside of it. It
Yes.
literally was a few kids that the program kept kicking out that I said,
Mhm.
okay, we've got to, how can we start a swim program to get kids that were
Yeah.
swimming? And to be honest with you, 3 of the kids that were in the program
Mhm.
throughout the time one of them was a child that came and did it, wasn't from here, but did it through the STAR
Yeah.
program.
Yeah.
And he is pre-Olympic right now.
That's
So the
amazing.
programs, it's, and the grandparents were teachers in the school system. So
Yeah.
there are
Mhm.
ways that these programs do affect kids in a very positive way.
That's-
And
it-
put them
it
into
does.
the normal with the normal
Mhm.
kids in their classes. And I think that's important to identify.
Thank
Right,
you.
because I think it's,
Thank
so
you.
on a personal note, I just wanted to say, I am not affiliated with the STAR program. But I just.
Although I might be able to. Yeah.
For swimming,
Yes.
But for everybody to understand that I do believe the program has, I have seen it.
Thank you.
I've seen what it's able to do. So
It's wonderful.
I just wanted to put that out there.
Thank you, Dorothy.
You're welcome.
It
And
takes me back to the one we just heard before this about if we could find somebody that, not my horse, but docile horse, to put the kids on a horse.
Mhm.
And just walk them simply, not having to walk themselves, simply just have the horse walk around
That
the ring.
equine therapy
This woman would be
is-
somebody to talk to if you could get a
Yeah.
horse.
Yeah.
She's really, I'll give you her name.
Will you?
connect
Yeah,
you.
I'll connect you with
Please
her.
do, because there used to
Somebody's
be
got one,
somebody.
There is a
See
woman.
Pony
Megan-
Farm that was here years
Megan-
ago.
no, they're
They're
gone.
Perry did
gone.
it. Megan Perry did it for a
Yeah,
long
she's
time,
gone.
but she's not here. all the time. And the horse is not where.
There is a woman that has reached out with a name, and
Oh, let's
I'll
connect.
I'll talk with you about
Yes,
it, okay?
please.
Thank you. That if this program that they're doing works, if she's willing to maybe collaborate with them with horses on the island, if the first year works, so, it's just something that came up from somebody, yeah. So,
We're here. Reach out, that would be great, thank you.
Well, thank
that's
you.
great. Okay, so we appreciate you coming in. We appreciate your time. And we appreciate the fact that you were part of the beginning of these conversations.
It's that first one, thank you. I know, it's been so great, and then when I heard about this, and I apologize if it's not. I heard that it was out and I didn't know the grant was out, and so I found out like right before it closed, so I quickly put it together. As fast as I could to get it in, and I love that you all are doing this. I think it's much needed for not just our group, but the island in general.
Thank
There's a
you.
lot of work to be done, so thank you guys.
No, thank you.
And I
Thanks for.
appreciate the
Thanks for
time.
getting together and coming in, and thank you for the time that you give
Oh, thank
to
you.
all the kids on
It's
this
fun.
island, not
It's-
only
it's
in
fun.
the STAR program.
Thank
I
you.
just love this program.
It's
She
great.
does an awful lot with her church too,
I do.
and with the Friends of Nantucket
I
Public
do.
Schools. So, and with the
That's why
STAR
ours looks so
programs her
fragile.
kids are in.
I know.
Goes
Well,
on.
they're getting older, you know?
Are they doing the house tour?
Yes. The
They
house
just reached out to me for the. tour.
They had a first meeting.
First meeting was last
week.
week.
I could not go because we had baseball or football, or I had something that I was at. There was something.
Do we have the houses?
No,
I'm not sure, no.
no,
Because
Linda, I'll talk to you about it after the meeting.
All right, because
Okay.
I've got the program back up on my machine. I just didn't have anybody plugged
Yeah.
in.
I think they
Well,
just had
nothing's
their
plugged in.
first
They just had
meeting.
the first meeting last
All
week.
right, because I
Yeah.
have some people that would be willing to do it, but somebody needs to contact me.
Okay, let's
let
take that
Gina
off
know.
and we'll have that discussion.
All right.
Thank you guys so much, and I'm sorry for crashing the.
No,
not at all.
No,
Thank
thank you.
Literally-
We appreciate your promptness.
Yeah.
Okay, well, you know, I try. Thank you guys so
Appreciate everything.
much.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Take
you.
care. And we'll be at the rink at 4 if anybody wants to swing by.
Okay.
I'm gonna break my hip.
I know, well, you can stay on dry land.
Yeah, or just put
Use
the
one
old
of the,
thing.
You can
Put-
sit and
I'm one
watch.
the walker on ice.
Guys, thanks again.
Thank you.
Take care.
Now, is our next one on Tuesday at 10?
No, it's at 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
3 to 5.
All right, now hold on a second. There is one, I'm
We
gonna be in New
canceled-
Jersey all week.
12th.
On the, Tuesday.
24th.
24th.
On the 24th, it's 3 to 5.
Yeah, hold
And did
on.
we get confirmation on Erica for time and room for that?
Yes.
Yes, she did give it to us.
Okay.
That's, she wanted us to have the afternoon, so she gave us permission. That's why I sent out.
All right, if it was
The
in the
invitation
morning, I
for
could
the
do it. I
festival,
cannot
yeah.
do it in the afternoon. We're at the film festival.
We,
Well, it's 3 to 5, and I think we've already put out the invitation to everybody, so it's,
Yeah,
it's a
we
go.
did. There was, Nami is the only one that will be via Zoom. Everybody else will be in person.
Okay. Okay, and what about the next date? I had one for Thursday, the 26th.
yeah.
I believe so.
At 10?
Yeah.
Right,
And that one is scheduled for.
that's deliberations.
10 to 11.
10 to 11,
Mm-hmm.
and it's Thursday, the 26th. That one I can do. I wish we had more money.
Yeah.
Said, we wish we had more money.
Well, some of these, but some of these, we can make, so in previous times when we've done, grant applications, we had a couple of applications come in under the human service, which we redirected to the cannabis or whatever. Some of these might be able to be redirected to say, the human service grant is coming. You might fit better in the criteria, thank you very much, of the human service grant.
The only.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I looked at some of these to go to the one we haven't even advertised
So-
yet.
This funding is available now.
Right,
It does not wait for next.
then
year.
wait for town meeting.
So that's the
Right.
major difference
Yeah.
between. the two.
They'd have to wait a year
I
to
have
do
to
that.
jump off, everybody. I have to
But
go.
we should do-
Okay, okay,
We're still open and recording.
okay.
We have enough for a quorum to close.
No, Joanna,
No, we do 1, 2, 3, 4,
oh, yeah, we did. Okay.
Okay. How many people on this group?
7.
Oh, I keep thinking there's 9. There's 9
That's-
on CPC, and it's just, that makes it very difficult sometimes.
Shall we close?
Well, we have the approval, can we have approval for the letter to just go to the finance committee? please?
I have. Did we get that shared?
Did you get it?
I have not. I don't believe I've received a copy of it. The last I heard about it, it was going to Joanna for feedback, and then I will look through my inbox again, but I don't.
Okay, so we're gonna put, I'm gonna, can I have a vote that it go out? And any edits come back, otherwise it goes. If we don't get any edits, it's an okay letter to go out. Cause I think it was just one correction was being made to it.
There
Right,
So-
and I thought we voted that last.
We did,
Time.
right? That we could just go out?
I haven't. Have you guys seen it since
I
then?
don't know,
Get
so
it?
well,
No.
let's just do this.
Okay.
Okay, can I have a motion to accept a minor edit to the letter that was presented not last week, but the week before. it
Through
was.
staff,
Pardon me?
through staff.
Through staff, or to go out to the powers that be.
And I would
Yeah,
send
you
that,
basically what you're saying is, you want to say that again, what you're saying is that you'd like us to, I think what you're trying to say is that you'd like us to vote upon the letter with minor edits
Yes,
that has been presented to the board,
yes,
to go out for, to the finance and
Yes.
board of selectmen.
it just may, we could, if you make the motion, say, if there are no edits received before date.
I think
please-
the edits we've already accepted the edits the last meeting, so we'll just send it out.
okay. That's what I thought that I had said, but can I have a motion to accept the letter that's been presented with the minor edit so it can be sent to the powers that be. Is that correct?
Sent to the Board of Selectmen.
Sent to the Board of
Okay,
Selectmen.
yeah.
Board of Selectmen.
I second that.
Okay,
Veronica,
I,
Aye.
Sue, Linda,
I'm gonna recuse.
then we can't vote on it.
No, you can.
We don't have
We don't. quorum.
quorum. If
You have three members of those who are
Okay,
sitting.
then the
here.
answer is yeah. Dorothy,
Okay.
yes.
So I will send that out on by Thursday if there's no, okay, so I'll send it at the end of this meeting.
I'm gonna check in with everybody. I'll get back in touch with you by the end of today. With what was the two edits that were supposed to be added after our last meeting.
All right, you cannot
Alright,
check
so-
with anybody. That's a rolling meeting.
I can do it to
You can
him.
do it to him, yes.
That's, I'm
right.
talking to Jericho.
Oh, I thought you said
So-
everybody.
No, I
So-
said to him.
So you'll send me I just want to get really
I'm
quick.
gonna send it to you.
Then I'll
with
send
the
it to
two-
the group.
No,
Yes.
it'll be done with the edits that have already been approved. We pretty much approved the edits. We just had to add a sentence to it. At our last meeting.
Okay.
We adjusted the dollar amount and
And-
added a sentence.
Yes,
Wasn't there additional reinforcing information that Joanna was gonna add?
no, she did it at that last meeting.
Okay. So
So we're
then,
just gonna,
Right.
I'll
What's
send
the-
you
what's
those
the
two
amount
sentences.
now?
Those two sentences that we voted on will be added to the letter and sent to you.
and then I'll send them out to the group, and then if I hear nothing more from it, I will send it to
We've already-
FinCom and Select Board, or just would you like, as soon as I get it, send it to FinCom and Select Board?
Once it's done, we've approved it. The vote has been approved the letter with the two edits to it. So we will send the edits to you. We can both send it out. I usually send it out to the FinCom and.
No,
Board of-
that's gotta come from staff.
No, actually, I'm allowed to. I've had all the others I've sent out to
I
the
know
Board of
that,
Selectmen.
but we need to go through staff.
Well, I'm not gonna, you and I will talk about it,
We're
Jericho, but it'll go to
advisory.
you, okay?
It goes through staff.
In the interest of moving, I will accept that, but I'm just confused at the ambiguity of how some of the operations have taken place, and that's something we'll have to iron out. But sure, as soon as I get it, I will also send it to FinCom and to Select Board.
Okay, because usually I spend,
I know that,
send it out.
Dorothy, but every board I'm on, I've been on every board but select board, it goes from the
Linda,
staff,
I'm not gonna-
not from the
Linda,
chairman.
I'm not gonna.
On any board I'm
I'm not
on.
gonna argue with you because we've done.
I
it for
understand
years.
that, and I
I'm
don't
not gonna
agree.
Argue with anybody
Not-
right now
not
during our meeting.
arguing.
I'm
not arguing with
we've
anyone.
made that vote.
It has to
I'm
go
gonna
through
make,
staff.
I'm gonna make somebody wanna make a
Motion to adjourn?
Sue?
Second.
Veronica?
Aye.
Sue?
Aye.
Veronica?
Aye.
Linda?
Aye.
Dorothy, aye.
We are adjourned. I am ending the meeting.